This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.
7:35, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock, and we are talking elections, politics, in the midterms. Just 48 days away. It's hard to imagine 48 days, Laurie. Joined in studio with Laurie Lee, Republican consultant and strategist. And 48 days, that's not very much.
48 days, it's a lot. It's a lot from where I'm sitting.
Got a lot to do. And we're going to talk about two of the big races in the rest of the show. Right now we're going to talk about the governor's race, which is a key big race between Asa Hutchinson and Mike Ross. Also, we have Libertarian Frank Gilbert and Green Party nominee Joshua Drake are also on the ticket. With regard to fundraising, the new fundraising numbers are out for that race and looking good for Asa Hutchinson. He has outraised Mike Ross. Hutchinson reporting raising $420,000 during the month. With cash on hand of $667 at the end of August. Ross, the Democratic candidate, reported raising $370,000 in August with $307 cash on hand. So I look at cash on hand. That's the key number in terms of what you have to spend between now and November. So we have Hutchinson with $667, Ross with $307. That's
quite the disparaging numbers there. That's quite a spread.
Right. And that will give Asa Hutchinson money he needs to get up on TV as he is and stay on TV and continue to have people knock on doors and get the message out.
Well, I'm telling you what, and if you're a candidate and you're listening, sometimes the ground game is being highly underestimated in this state. And I will tell you from somebody who's been involved in campaigns for a long time, that a ground game in a state like Arkansas is imperative.
Right.
And so if you can take some of that money and get people to knock doors and spread a message. And here's another thing that we're missing here in the state of Arkansas is a recruitment for new voters. We have 1.5 estimated age-appropriate voters, and we only have 800,000 registered, and only 20% of those vote. That's egregious. We need some kind of, registration plan to get good, conservative, where are the churches in this? What are the churches doing to make sure that their parishioners are going to the polls and voting their values? I mean, it's estimated that more than 50% of evangelicals in Arkansas don't even vote.
It's an interesting point. I was at an event in Charlotte, North Carolina, Sunday night, and that was what it was about. It was Tony Perkins, Family Research Council, broadcasting to churches across the country, and not saying vote Republican or Democrats, saying go vote. And they sent them to a website, 123vote.com, register to vote, and encourage people to get out and vote. And the key is to do your research on the candidate, see who represents your views and values the most, and get out and vote. Because if you don't stand up and vote, then shut up.
That's exactly right. And you've got till October 6th to register. I mean, you got several weeks left to register. And each county should have the ballot on their county website where you can look at the issues. We've got, 3 ballot initiatives this time on the... Is that right? 3? And then we have, a plethora of candidates all the way from U.S. Senate down to dadgum dog catcher.
Right.
Is that really a race? I don't think that's a race, but...
No, but it's... People
but there's
that.
A lot
People
of
say
it.
that.
I'm going to run for
they
dog
say that.
catcher.
They say that all the time. On this governor's race between Asa Hutchinson and Mike Ross, also looking at some polling numbers, we have Asa Hutchinson is still in the lead, 5 points ahead in the latest Real Clear Politics average poll. He is ahead. He's been ahead in many of the polls. The latest really big gap or stretch was in the NBC News Marist poll, shows Hutchinson up 9. Also in the CBS poll, Hutchinson up 7. And here's one thing, and I've said this from day one, that Hutchinson clearly has more money. Yeah, he's ahead in the polls. There does appear to be a trend there. Mike Ross is one heck of a retail politician. He is a hard campaigner. He will knock on every door until the cows come home on election day, and he connects with people, And it will be interesting to see how he does. If he can, that's a big gap to fill, but he is a hard worker. He is very personable, and he is going to make up a lot of ground just on he himself as a retail politician.
No,
that's my view. And I'm not taking away from Asa at all. I'm saying this is Mike Ross is a hard campaigner.
He is a hard campaigner. He's a well-loved congressman in his district. He has some name ID, and I don't think that the ASA campaign can put this in the win column yet. I think this is still a race. I do know that as we've talked about many times, Alice, Mike Ross had a burn rate early on of 3-1 over ASA, and initially he was outraising him pretty good. But I don't know that outside of one poll that was kind of obscure, that Ross has been ahead in any of the polls. And you and I both know you can poll a race all day long and you can be 20 points up, but if you're not getting people to the polls to vote, you're not going to win. So, I would just encourage the Hutchinson campaign to make sure that they're turning out the vote and getting that voter, that one voter contact. TV is an important piece of an election, a statewide election, but there's nothing that can replace that individual voter contact. Either a phone call or a door knock or something to that magnitude where the candidate's proxy or himself are actually touching the voter one-on-one.
And what that's going to do is everyone can sit there at their home, or whether you're at the gym or you're in the coffee shop or wherever, and you see these ads on TV, and it might persuade you because that person seems nice, and you'll decide to vote. But if someone does come knock on your door and you have that communication with them one-on-one, you're inclined to tell your friends. Absolutely. And they'll tell their friends, and they'll tell their friends, and that right there is the benefit of that retail politicking, is because when there's a personal connection made, people will convey that with others. And
in a state, and I'll say this again and again, in a state like Arkansas that is so close-knit and so small, that game right there is paramount. That is something that really resonates with voters in this state and can really move a needle.
And the key is, as you say, make sure that you are registered to vote and go vote. That's the key. We're going to take a break. Laurie Lee, Republican consultant and strategist, joins us. We're going to look at the U.S. Senate race between Mark Pryor and Congressman Tom Cotton. Such a heated race. All eyes across the country discussing this race because it is key. Possibly could determine control of the Senate in Washington. We'll take a break and we'll have more after this segment of the Alice Stewart Show, brought to you by Arrow Plumbing. For all of your household or business plumbing needs, call Arrow Plumbing 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at arrowplumbing.net.